It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Thursday morning. It's January the 16th. And still cold. Okay, let's get on with it. Woo, baby. Top 5 at 6. Here we go. If you're just getting up, if you're just rolling out of bed, if you're just walking out the door, turn around and go back to bed. Honestly, take the day. Because today, number 5 on your top 5 at 6, today is National Nothing Day.
Oh, or as I like to call it, Thursday.
Thursday. National Nothing Day has been celebrated since 1973. This is the first I'm hearing of it. I feel cheated.
Oh, I'm sure you've gotten around to nothing once or twice here or there.
Well, but yeah, many times. And not just on the 16th of January, Brian's up. I'll tell you, many more days. But this has been going on, as I said, since 1973. A journalist named Harold Pullman Coffin. What a name. HPC. Harold Pullman Coffin proposed this as a non-event to be observed by doing nothing every January 16th. And apparently, there's a handful of people who've been paying attention and have done nothing since 1973 on January the 16th. National Nothing Day is sponsored by Coffin's own foundation, which is called the National Nothing Foundation. And true to its title, they don't even have a website. You can't find them because they do nothing about it. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I've made a life out of it, really, so.
I mean, that's where I was going with this. You know, I have friends, I have family members, I have people I love and respect. And when you say, like, so what'd you get up to over, you know, like the new year? How was 24? What'd you get up to? And they just start talking, and they talk, and they talk, and they talk. And I'm like, I did some radio, did some, had a lot of pierogies. I mean, I was like, what did I get up to? Nothing. That's kind of what I do. That's the whole point. So anyway, if you want to know what it's like to be us, enjoy today.
Yeah. Don't do a damn thing today.
I think there's something romantic and downright attractive about underachieving.
Yeah.
Number 4 on your top 5 and 6. We mentioned a few months ago, as did everybody else in this area, Molson Coors, the company that owns Leinenkugel Brewery, they decided they're closing the Western Wisconsin facility over in Chippewa Falls. They're going to make all the beer now in Milwaukee, except for some small batches that they make exclusively at the Leinie Lodge over in Chippewa Falls. The lodge will remain open. The brewery is gone. 56 brewery workers are out of work now. And 2 of the former presidents of the company and 2 of the Leinenkugel brothers, that is Jake and Dick, are trying to buy the company back. They're trying to buy that brewery in Chippewa Falls back from Molson Coors. It's a great idea. They're like, hey, we want to start discussions about acquiring. Our goal is to main operations under the Leinenkugel family leadership. It's a huge part of the facility. It's a symbol. I mean, it's a huge part of the company. That brewery in Chippewa Falls, they say it's more than a facility. It's a symbol of the legacy, a source of pride for our community, and a key part of what makes Leinenkugel's unique. And Molson Coors hasn't even returned the phone call.
Yeah, well, so you sold it to them, right? The Leinenkugel family sold it to them, and now they want to buy it back. That's usually profitable, as I understand.
I would think.
No, it's not. Selling it to a corporation and then buying it back from the corporation. Try buying KQ sometime. I mean, I haven't, but.
I mean, it's profitable for Molson Coors, if at all. But no, Molson Coors is like, hey, man, it's great. We appreciate it. Next, it's just a bummer, you know. And I realize you're right. They sold it 40 years ago. They sold to the parent company. But you know, at this stage of the game, I just hate the fact that place is closing down in Chippewa Falls. The Leinie Lodge will stay open. Yeah. But the brewery, and that's 56 people in a small town that have to go find new work. It's kind of a drag.
It would be nice if Molson would just say, "Hey, how much are we worth? Billions, really? I mean, let's cut them a deal. All right, come on."
Yeah.
Return the call, for God's sakes. Number 3 on your top 5 at 6, Kyle Gordy is a guy from California. He's 32 years old, and he has 87 children. I'm not making this up. He is the world's most prolific sperm donor. He is on his way to having 100 By the end of this year, there will be 100 children that this guy has donated the sperm and sired. I was going to say fathered. This is more like siring, right?
Yeah, right.
His oldest child is 10, so he's knocking out about 10 a year, apparently. He's one of only 3 men to have had 100 offspring. And he says, hey, man, I have no plans on stopping. He says, it's great to be a dad to so many children. I love
You're not a dad.
I love that I've helped all these women start families when they thought this wouldn't be possible. What are you talking about? He's got a he has a website. It's called Be Pregnant Now. What is he just got? Super jacked up sperm? My God. All right.
Hateable. Is that hereditary smugness? Is that I hope not. I hope there aren't 100 more smug kids coming out. Well, I know there is, but yeah, this guy. Just out of curiosity, looking at this story this morning, I took a sperm donor test. I filled out the application and failed. There are 10 criteria, and I only qualified for one, and that is I produce sperm. So I would like to be paid not to sire any more children. I think society could agree on that. Can we pay Zepp not to father any more children?
That's a GoFundMe page waiting to happen, and during the next commercial break, we'll get that up and running.
All right.
Guys, you all know Brian Zepp. He's our buddy, and we really think it's important that he not father any more human children.
Yeah, and
please donate.
As proof, on my new TikTok account, I'm very excited about just getting started with the TikTok thing. I am going to post videos. I'm going to post videos of me wasting my sperm every day.
God. Yeah,
not
this guy,
fathering children.
They say if you can find a job doing what you love, and so Kyle, what's this guy's name? Kyle Gordy clearly has done just that. I got to admit, when I saw the headline, world's most prolific sperm donor has 100 children, I thought it was going to be about Roger Daltrey. But that's an entirely different type of sperm donation, and the 60s were a very different time.
Yeah.
So, what do you know? Check this out. Number 2 on your top 5 at 6, a butcher from Coon Rapids is in the Texas Roadhouse Meat Cutting Challenge.
Hello.
Hell yeah. Texas Roadhouse meat cutters from across the country will be competing against each other in timed butchery skills. It's a big showcase. It's going down today in Dallas. Justino Sanchez of Coon Rapids will be competing against 24 other professional butchers. Each competitor is given 20 to 30 pounds of beef. They then have to carve out sirloin, filet, and ribeye. They'll be stationed on an ice rink to simulate the 35-degree cooler where they each cut up an average of $1 million worth of meat annually for their respective restaurants. I would watch a bunch of guys compete at chopping meat like there's no tomorrow. This is great.
I mean, I've stood around for an hour just looking at a motorcycle with 5 or 6 guys. So, I would add. No, this is meat cutters, not to be confused with the meat beater that we just talked about. No. That was Kyle. This is meat cutters. Gotcha. Oh, no, this sounds exciting. I mean, I didn't know something like this existed. This is fun. What's this guy's name? Oh, we got 2 people, one from Duluth and one local Metro guy.
Justino Sanchez from Coon Rapids.
Is this televised on ESPN4 or something?
It says it's not that I'm seeing.
I think you're probably going deeper than 4. Maybe like 8, 9, or 10.
Yeah. No, but I've had the meat sweats in Texas more than a handful of times. So this is pretty cool. Hey, want to give a quick morning shout out to Wayzata. Good morning. What's happening over in Wayzata right now? Go back to bed. It's National Nothing Day. If you missed it already, seriously, just turn around.
Ice fishing is kind of doing nothing. Get over there on the big walk today and do a little ice fishing. That might not be bad. It's warm out today. 30.
Yeah.
I'm not used to this, guys. I'm still, to me, that's still cold. I'm sorry.
Chilly.
And because I looked ahead at the weather that's coming in, and so I'm already cold. I'm already cold for next week.
Yeah.
Number 1 on your top 5 at 6. Oh boy. State Senator Mike Boussalat of Iowa has announced plans. He's going to introduce a bill. He wants to purchase the bottom 9 counties of Minnesota at the 2025 Land Investment Expo. He says, hey, man, let's make 9 counties of Minnesota Iowa. What do you say? This is just one of those things people do to get a little attention. He's trying to poke fun at something that Tim Walz said several years ago, a rocks and cows statement. Tim Walz was giving a conversation. He was in a conversation about that rural Minnesotans often felt unheard. And he said, who's been speaking for them? You look at those maps and you look at areas where there's a lot of rocks and cows down there. It was just it was taken
a lot of rocks.
Yeah, a lot of rocks and cows, and these people feel left, blah, blah, blah. So this guy now, 7 years after that comment was made, is like, hey, let's take over some of the southern border. Our new Iowans, former Minnesota residents, will have lower income sales and business taxes. You want to get your commas in the right place there, buddy. A more farm friendly state, a better managed state. Go on, stop. I've been through.
Up.
Dude, we've all been to Iowa. Relax, okay?
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
They can't afford it. Gab Santos, Fox 9, he was down there asking the locals.
I might consider going north.
Why?
Just to get out of Iowa.
Others living in Albert Lee are willing to entertain offers.
I'd definitely take the lower taxes for sure.
I'd be fine with Iowa.
Albert Lee, that's not far enough south. I don't think they're...
Yeah, I don't think they count. I'm worried about Laverne, though. Rock County? I don't want to give up Rock County.
Why?
Because they have a really good brewery there. It's my favorite in the state.
All right.
I was really hoping you were going to say because it rocks. I thought that's where that was going.
Yeah, if only we had a brewery in the metro. Someone get on that, would they?
Man, we'll find one. Someone out there is going to get it together and open a brewery. And when they do, we'll be there, by God. There's your top 5 and 6 for a Thursday. How many times a week are you to drive through windows up? What do you think?
Oh, I would say probably, let's say 2 to 3.
Okay, 2 to 3. And when you pull up, are you generally the kind of guy that knows exactly what you're going to order, or do you sometimes still wait and look at the board and make a game time decision?
No, I pretty much know what I want, Every once in a while, they'll put a new menu item up there that'll, and then I'll just grab it. I'll just spit it out. But mostly I know what I want. Why do you ask, Steve?
Well, there's a woman in Ohio, and she posted a TikTok video after going through a drive-thru. She went to Burger King. Her kids wanted some chicken fries, which honestly, if you like chicken fries, sorry, but that's just gross. Chicken fries, just the whole concept of chicken fries, I'm not a fan.
What about chicken and fries? Are we getting too lazy for chicken and fries?
It's apparently so. Apparently, but maybe I guess if you have to have one hand on the wheel, you got to be able to eat with the other hand. Maybe chicken fries is just a way of making it a little simpler for the drive and dine. But she was really surprised. She got her kids she ordered chicken fries for her kids, and she'll explain what came on the side in the order.
Went to Burger King tonight. Got my kids some chicken fries. This bag came. If you look down in there, you can see some residue. She got her chicken fries. Chicken fries with the side of, do you see that? You can't say that on here. Mary Jane from Burger King.
Mary Jane?
Wow, what a mom. Yeah, it's inappropriate.
Just some straight up marijuana right there in the side bag. So you had the bag of chicken fries and then a bag of weed.
Guess where I'm going today.
How many times does this happen at the drive-thru? Sometimes you get the wrong order. Someone else obviously ordered that weed and they just put it in her bag. It's no big deal. I mean, we all know Burger King is where you go get weed, right? That's kind of their new thing.
I heard it was I don't want to bust anyone, but I know down in the South Metro-ish area, say on the County Road 42 area down there somewhere, I heard that if you go through a particular place and ask for a glass of water, just want a cup of water tonight, you get yourself some weed.
There you go.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, drive-thrus have always been. I know of a dry cleaner that has the window you can pull up to, and that was famously where you go get a bag of weed with that quilt that you needed dry cleaned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dropped off a corduroy jacket here last week. There's certain keywords. I love Burger King. Burger King, hold the pickle, hold the lettuce. No, actually, give me some of that lettuce, now that I think about it.
Yeah,
give me some of that weed, some of that pot, some of that reaver, some of that grass, some of that chronic, some of that chiva, some of the mashes, some of the baby bag. I can't say that here. What kind of woman? It's TikTok. You can literally say anything. My God, the things I've seen on that TikTok. It does seem a little backwards for me. If I'm ever going to eat chicken fries, I will have already smoked so much weed that sounds like a good idea.
Right. Yeah, I'll get home, smoke the weed, then I have to actually go back for food. Now I've got the munchies. Don't forget to get your food while you're there, for crying out loud.
It's all about the order of things. Time to look back. All right, let's talk baseball. On this day in 1975, the Minnesota Twins released 38-year-old Harmon Killebrew. They were unable to come to terms on a new deal. To this day, the Killer has played more games in a Twins uniform than anybody else. 2,329 games.
Damn.
Pay the man. What do you mean you let him go?
I mean, just to keep him around, right?
Yeah, the Kansas City Royals are like, okay, we'll take him. Come on. They signed him a week later. By the way, and then in May of that year, so this is January 16th, May 4th, the Royals come to play in Minnesota. The Twins retire his number 3 at that game. He's still playing, and now he's on another team.
God, how long have the Pohlads owned this team?
And by the way, hit a home run in the first inning of that game. Top of the first for the
Of
road
course
team.
he did.
He went long. He retired later at the end of that season. 573 home runs at that time, the 5th most ever in Major League history. Dude was a baller. He went into the Hall of Fame in his 4th year of eligibility because baseball writers are still just ridiculous.
Yeah, they
Let's
are.
make him wait 4 years. He hit 573 home runs on beef jerky, not steroids.
The Killer. If you look at the Major League Baseball logo, that is the Killer. That's Harmon Killebrew. Now, Major League Baseball has never actually fessed up to it, but look at a classic shot of him hitting a home run.
Yeah.
Then look at the Major League Baseball logo. Yeah, the Killer, the best. Stopped by the station one day, one of the highlights of my life, shaking his hand, and gave me an autographed baseball that my nephews went out and played catch with one day because they just saw it sitting there on the there on a little end table that I had. I guess I didn't put it in one of those fancy things, so now it's got a grass stain on it, which I think is legit.
Well, it's all right. You can say that grass stain is from the original Yankee Stadium if you want. Go for it. I'm not going to question it. On this day in 1981, boxer Leon Spinks was mugged. The famous part of that story, the part that everybody talked about, they took his wallet and his gold teeth.
Oh, man.
I'm not making that up. You're a heavyweight boxer, at one time the champion of the world, and they took your gold teeth. Dude, stop drinking.
Yeah.
On this day in 1995, Malcolm Glazer bought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for $190 million. That's 1995, 30 years ago. Just this past summer, he turned down an offer. Someone wanted to buy the team. He turned down $6 billion. So that's a pretty good return on investment. That's about 32 times the value in 32 years. And guys, I'm going to say it right now. This morning show, we need to get us an NFL team.
Sure. What did an NFL ticket cost in 1995? I'm curious. Because it feels like it's kept pace with the rate of inflation on the team's value.
I'm sure it has.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
Hey, did you hear about the big data breach this week?
Huh.
I didn't either, but I have 959 junk emails in the last 24 hours. So somebody got my email address. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. 959. It's going up every minute.
That's
963.
crazy.
963 since I started that sentence.
Sorry. Well, you walked away from your laptop one morning, and I thought, that's his email? Okay.
Yeah.
And so I signed up for a couple of things online, just doing some show preparation.
Okay, that makes sense.
For a porn thing we've got coming up. No, I tell you what, I get so much junk mail now, and if you try and filter it out, then the other emails end up in there. I don't know, but I get so much junk mail now. Good luck trying to send me an email and have it get to me, because all I see is just retail, scam. Yours gets lost in there. So if I didn't get back to you, just remember, it's do nothing day for me every day.
It is do nothing day.
It's frustrating. It's worse. It's like going to your mailbox now. The only thing I ever get in my mailbox is just crap mail. It's all just crap.
I'm just going to read the subject matter of the last one that just came in. Number 1 worst seafood dish for heart.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thankfully, it was flagged as junk appropriately, but yeah. Anyway, I'll keep you up to date. We'll see if we can't get this thing over 1,000 by the end of the hour. That's going to be exciting.
Kind of curious about that shellfish thing, but let's move on.
Oh, well, we can move on. I don't know what pisses you off when you're driving around. I am the kind of driver, and I always have been, when someone's coming at me with the high beams, I absolutely flicker. I give them the womp, 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 with my high beams.
Yeah.
Like,
I flash them, yeah.
hey, dude, chill out.
Right.
The problem lately, man, really? Wow. The problem lately is that with the last 10 years or so, like a lot of vehicles, you got those, what are they, halogen lights? I mean, they're so bright. The regular lights are so bright. I think I'm being high beamed, and then I give them the, and then I get high beamed, and then I'm blind. I'm like, oh my God, that wasn't your high beams?
I had that happen a couple of times.
I got to fight fire with fire. I have to get a new car when I see stuff like that. I'm like, I need those bright lights so that I have something to fight back with.
Yeah. Also, the other thing is, I just got a new truck a couple of years ago, and it has auto high beams. I don't know how to freaking get it off. I keep thinking I'm going to sit down and Google, how do I get this freaking thing off auto high beams? Because here's the problem. When someone's coming at you, you can't flick them. There's no flicking because there's lights coming at you, and the auto is going, we don't do that. We don't flick people. Or like Ryder, we're not just flashing every car that passes us. Yeah, I know. So there's that, and there's nothing more aggravating than not being able to flash someone who doesn't get their frickin' low beams on.
Yeah, and I am the kind of guy, I will also flash someone from behind when they have they've got the parking lights on, the half headlight, and they think their lights are on, but that means there's no tail lights. It's and people are like, oh, my lights are on. It's like, no, they're not, dude. Those are your parking lights. And so I'll be behind somebody going, womp, 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 womp. And then, of course, they start flipping me off, and I'm like,
yes.
You don't have your lights on. You just think you have your lights on. For God's sakes, people, how hard is this?
Wagons.
What is this? A 62-year-old man from Kentucky, as opposed to a 59-year-old man from Kentucky that you're listening to right now. He had a problem with some high beams. He was furious driving through California last weekend. His name is Frank Falcone. That sounds like a New Jersey guy. But anyway, he saw a driver coming at him who allegedly had their brights on. And Frank was very annoyed by this. So what we don't know is whether or not he high-beamed a few times to get their attention. What we do know is that he turned around, chased the car, and decided to ram into him 3 separate times.
Oh.
Temper.
Yeah.
3 separate times. Yeah. He fled the scene after the third ramming. Police found him, pulled him over, and he told the cops the guy had his high beams on, and that's very upsetting. And here's the quote: because of the brightness and potential radiation.
Radiation?
What?
Radiation. Yeah.
They miss here.
Arrested on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon. They may be looking at additional charges. Yeah, look for a straightjacket, okay?
Yeah.
Potential radiation from the high beams.
Well,
the other driver was okay.
It wasn't a DeLorean, was it?
It very well could have been. I saw a news report. Rosemary and I were watching, 60 Minutes or 2020 or something years ago, like in the 90s. And they were interviewing a reformed gang member from Los Angeles. He had been, a Crip or a Blood or some other street gang. And he explained that the initiation, when he was probably 14 years old, you have to kill somebody. Like if you want to be in, you have to have a body, right?
All right.
And so the interviewer goes, well, how would you just pick someone at random? And he goes, yeah. What we would do is we'd all get into the car and we would drive around L.A. with our lights off at night. And the first person who flashed their lights at us, we would then pull up next to them. I'd have to get out and go kill that driver. That's how they chose the person to kill at random, whoever flicked their brights. That's a very chilling thing to hear. And so I was like, whoa, my God, can you imagine? Next, in one ear, out the other. My wife, who doesn't remember anything, apparently just filed that one away. Several years later, we're in a rental car in Los Angeles, and I see someone coming, and I go, wah, wah, wah. She goes, don't do that. Don't do that. It might be a gang member. And I'm like, what? And I mean, she pulled it out of the recesses of her brain from probably 5 years old. She goes, no, don't you remember? If you do that, then they'll kill us. I'm like, if I do what? Who will kill us? Like, what are you talking about?
I mean, she's got a point, Steve. This is why we need women in our lives and why we don't want them in our lives a lot of times, because of their memory. Yeah. They remember things that might keep us alive, and all of a sudden, also all that crap that we did just one time, one screw up.
No, she's
still
very
bringing
good.
it up.
Incriminating evidence she never forgets, but it's it's the random news story that you never see in there. But that one she held on to, and I'm not making this up. Looking over her shoulder, they're going to turn around. I'm like, babe, it's like a Lexus. It's not a gang driving around. It's like a nice Lexus SUV. They're fine.
Yeah, well, that's true. Although maybe they just stole the Lexus.
That's true.
And they're headed home. And hey, where's our to-do list? All right, steal Lexus, all right, do that, or sell some drugs on the street. We haven't killed anyone yet.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, the next person that flicks us, let's get them on the way. So I'm just saying, these are how these things play out. Road rage. We've all seen road rage. I'm sure you guys have both seen people jump out of their cars. No one looks more ridiculous. However, if you're involved in road rage, nothing's more serious. No. I'm making a point here. I've had enough of this, and I'm not going to take it anymore. But if you see a couple of people, I was driving, it was like 100 degrees. I'm not exaggerating. Middle of the summer, I'm driving through Uptown on Lyndale, right out in front of the CC Club, and it's just, dragging along 1 mile an hour. And I don't know what happens in front of me, but the guy, 2 cars in front of me, gets out and approaches the car in front of me. Mm-hmm. That guy gets out, they start arguing, and then the other guy goes back. There's a little shoving going on, nothing serious. The one guy gets in his car because the light's green and we're all honking like, all right, you made your point, let's go. And the other guy with his car parked right there near the intersection at 26th and Lyndale walks into the CC Club. With all of us behind him. Yeah, and there's traffic coming on the other side. And he just walked in, and we're all just sitting there. So I wheel around him and park there on 26, and I walk in and sat down and just decided to have a beer myself. But I'm legally parked now. And about 15 minutes later, the bartender goes, hey, Alan, is that your car out there they're towing from the street? And he goes, yeah. Didn't even look, just kept drinking his beer.
Wow.
That was my favorite road rage story. I love that one, Alan. Wherever you're at, you beautiful bastard.
That is pretty strong. I got on Connell when he was first learning to drive. He had his license, but he was still early in his career as a driver. And he was driving. I'm sitting in the front seat. I'm doing my best not to make any point. Slow down. I'm not trying to give him any lessons. Yeah. I'm just sitting there very uncomfortably. And then he does the whole guy kind of comes in front of him. We're on the highway, and he puts his hand up like, oh, come on, and does this. I go, dude, hey, man, you need to. And he goes, oh, don't you even start. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, Dad, I've been riding in a car with you my whole life. You're the worst. And I'm like, that's not true. We get home, sit there with Rosemary and Marley. I'm like, hey, am I like a road? And they all just start laughing at me. They're like, you yell at every driver on the road. And I was like, really?
Wow. Huh. He turned into you and Rosemary all at the same time.
I kind of realized.
He did what you did, then lectured you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I realized then, like, oh, they've never mentioned it because they're all afraid of me. Okay, that's probably not great.
I mean, that was our dad's generation. We were raised on you got to fear your old man a little bit. I love you, but you've got to fear me. And you're just, that's instinctual, man.
Gotta be. It's very, very important.
Yeah.
You might not like me, but I'm going to make sure no one breaks your jaw because you're an idiot. I'm going to keep you on the straight and narrow. We told you the story the other day of a woman from Kansas City who had 6 of her ribs removed. An elective cosmetic surgery, all in the hopes of getting a much smaller waistline. That's not the weirdest part. Well, that is pretty weird. But it gets weirder. She has kept the 6 ribs. She has them in her home, and she's planning to have them turned into like a crown or a tiara, something she can wear around.
Oh.
Hey, that crown's kind of nice. What is that? Oh, those are my ribs. Yeah.
What? They're in a Ziploc bag. I'm just looking at 6 ribs, all boned out there. The meat's all off of them.
Sure.
I don't know what you do with them in KC. I guess you have a barbecue. But, and then, okay, so some doctor said, yeah, all right, I'll take out your ribs. I've got a little free time between saving lives and then someone's going to make a crown out of those for you. Honey, sweetheart, you don't need a crown. Straight jacket, I think. A little time away.
As surgical souvenirs go, a crown of my ribs is it's pretty strong, I gotta say. Now, first things first, if you knew this girl, would you call her, what would her nickname now be? Would it be McRib?
Yeah.
Would it be,
yeah.
What was the children's books? There was the dog Ribsy. Remember Ribsy? Like the Beverly Cleary books, Ramona the Pest, all that series. There was a dog named Ribsy. I'd probably go with
Ribsy.
that. I think McRib. Just McRib's great. Nice and simple, straight to the point. But yeah, that's quite the surgical souvenir, which a lot of people hang on to. There are many people who have procedures done, and they say, hey, I'd like to hang on to that when you're done.
Yeah.
And so we put it on the Facebook post. Have you ever had anything removed during surgery? What was it? Did you keep a surgery souvenir? On the KQRS Facebook post, oh boy, we're already up to almost 100 comments just like that. You can call or text us 651-989-ROCK, the KQ Talk and text line. What in the world did you bring? Gene on the Facebook post wrote, the titanium that held my pelvis together, I turned it into a necklace, and then he was decent enough to share a photo of that necklace.
Oh, that's very nice. Thanks. How's your pelvis doing? I mean, why?
He said, hey, I wore it on the inside for 4 months. I've had it around my neck for 4 years. Check this out. Uninsured, inattentive driver wrecked me and my motorcycle.
Oh, no.
So it was a bad situation. That titanium had to clearly put his pelvis back together. Now he's wearing it. Rock on, Gene. Yeah,
I'll tell you what. I've got a titanium hockey stick in my left leg. It runs down my tibia and then down the shin. I think there's like 8 or 9 screws in there. I'd keep that hardware, titanium hockey stick. Yeah, and I guess I can get it taken out, but I'm a procrastinator. Maybe one of these days. Colleen kept her gallstones.
Oh,
all
really?
right.
Okay.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, Michelle posted, one of my sisters had to have surgery a few years ago. She was diagnosed. She had a tumor in her abdomen. They removed it. It was 41 pounds.
Ooh. What?
What?
They gave us pictures of it, but my sister refused to look at it. The tumor was benign. We named it Igor.
41 pounds? That's bigger than some dogs I've owned. My God, that's... Hey, what's that sitting over there in the corner? Don't put your feet on my old tumor. Gross. Some things you can't keep, There's Chris Eggert over here at Channel 5, does the morning show over there.
Yep.
Lost his right leg, had it amputated. I forget why, and we had him on there to talk about it. He's on our Facebook post saying, oh, yeah, but they wouldn't let me keep it. Couldn't keep his right leg. A lot of these things you can't keep.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, but however, we've got Ed here who writes, I have a buddy, says his uncle in Superior kept his amputated toe from frostbite in a jar on the fireplace.
A lot of wisdom teeth. A lot of people I know people who kept their wisdom teeth. I didn't. I just said, can I have some of those pills, please? And just moved on about my day. Jessica on the Facebook page, let me tell you something. If you want a travel buddy, go with Jessica because she wrote, I left my tonsils in Maui and my gallbladder in Ecuador. Ouch.
And my heart in Blaine.
Yeah, boy, surgery when traveling. I mean, surgery is one thing. Surgery in a foreign land, My brother, Jim, was playing basketball in South America for a brief period. He was a college basketball player, and he went down and he was playing in Venezuela, and his appendix burst. And he had his appendix removed, and he swore... And he never changed his story that there were chickens in the waiting room outside the OR.
I believe it. I believe it. I mean, you just, all right.
Man.
There's a story to tell. Shannon, I like this one. Her, who was it, brother kept her surgical souvenir, which was her kidney she donated to him.
Oh, well, that works.
That's nice.
That's pretty strong. Man, there are so many posts on here. It's just amazing what all the things that our listeners have had removed
Yeah.
in
Breck.
the day.
Breck, what are you doing, buddy? Here's Reckless Breck, I'm going to call him. He had a lot of hardware removed from a collarbone, knee, foot, and ankle, and he kept it. And I'm looking at a photograph Breck sent in here. It looks like your junk drawer, with all those screws and
Sure.
pieces of metal. You don't know where they came from. In fact, you could reuse some of those as wood screws, I think, if you wanted to, Breck. Thank you. Reckless Breck.
Sure. On the KQ Talking text line, Amy wrote, well, this is not her, but my cat had to have her eyeball amputated.
Oh.
Ooh.
Or I wouldn't say amputated. I'd say dug out because it sounds cooler. My cat had to have her eyeball amputated, and my daughter kept the eyeball, has it in a jar on the shelf where she puts flowers and pictures and stuff.
That's awesome. That is better
really
than my
awesome.
old cat eye marble that I used to be so proud of. Yeah, that's a cool one right there.
Another text. My tonsils are in the cabinet in the science classroom at my old high school. Several people, the tonsils, you could keep those. My brother had his out as a kid, brought them home, and they were lost within probably 5 days. Where's the tonsils? No one knew.
You know what, Mom? That's one of those mom things when you can't find something disgusting that you wanted to keep or something like that. I remember finding a baseball bat in the ditch with a bunch of nails. I forget what they used to call that, but like you might use in a gang or something like that. It was just one of these things that was turned into a weapon, a dangerous weapon, and I found it and I brought it home. I'm like, cool, look at this, all these nails driven through this baseball bat. And 2 days later, it was gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, everywhere. My dad, my brother, my mom. And then when Mom's being quiet, I don't know, Brian, I haven't seen it. She threw it away.
Of course
I'm not letting Brian have that. Mom flushed them.
My mom threw away Doug's tonsils and my Little League baseball gloves signed by the 74 Orioles. So it's all fair. It's all the same thing. There's nobody on that team named Brooks Robinson. That's fine. That's fine. Jim Palmer.
No.
It's no big deal. No big deal. Not a big deal. On the text line, hi, this is TC. I have my dad's old hip made out of titanium. Wow.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Could you repurpose that? I don't know. Might make a good, a good sled for the kids. One of those scoop sleds, they could sit on it and just right down you go. I don't know.
Okay, Michael on Facebook. I don't know about this. He says hernias, 2 of them. I wear them around my belt buckle.
Yeah, right there with you, buddy. Double hernia. Got a whole bunch of mesh in there. Yeah, doctors leave souvenirs in my body. Got a lot of electronics and mesh and titanium in there.
Man, here's another post talking about having some ribs removed. Terry, my goodness, half of my liver due to a traumatic injury, near fatal ATV accident. They had to let it die off and see if it would start to heal itself. After a 20% chance of making it, on the 5th surgery, they took the dead infected part off. It since grew back, thanks to the trauma surgeons at North Memorial. Been 21 years. Oh, yeah, they had to take 3 of my back ribs also. Wow.
Oh, did you make a crown out of those?
I tell you, she didn't mention the crown. I'm assuming she went on about her business like a normal person would.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh, Pete. Had a lot of hardware removed from a collarbone, knee, foot, and ankle. I kept it because I paid for it, so I wanted it back. Yeah, I guarantee it. Whew. Yeah, I tell you what, man, I've only had one proper surgery. I mean, wisdom tooth, I don't count that as surgery. I tore a bicep tendon almost 5 years ago now and had that surgery. I didn't get anything from that at all other than, a strong dose of opioids, which I was terrified to take. What I learned was when the doctor says, take these before the nerve block wears off because you don't want to be chasing the pain. What I learned is you should listen to your doctor.
Yeah.
Because chasing the pain is not a good place to be at all.
I learned that a couple of times the hard way. More than once, I'm embarrassed to say. But yeah, you got to, because once you get behind it, you can't catch it. And much better to be stoned to the gourd,
Yeah. Check this out
in
from
pain,
Vicky.
it turns out.
Sorry, my son stuck a magnet from Dinosaur Bingo up his nose. Took him to the ER. Doctor couldn't see it and asked if we were sure. It's as clear as day on the X-ray. Doctor couldn't get it out, so we had to call an ENT in to dig it out. The tool he used looked barbaric. He did get it out. We displayed that sucker at his high school graduation party. Yeah, you did. Hold on. This is from Sarah. My aunt had her ovaries bronzed, and now they're on my uncle's desk at work.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
that's a little weird.
that's bold. That's very weird. That's very bold. Very strong. I'm gonna give her a high five on that one.
No kidding.
Bronzed ovaries. Yeah. Whew.
Bronzed ovaries. More than fair. It's probably a good idea right now that we say good morning to our listeners in Brooklyn Park. Happy to have you with us. What's going on in Brooklyn Park this morning? Nothing, because it's Nothing Day. National. It is truly National Nothing Day. Do nothing, Brooklyn Park. Just be cool like you always are. How's that?
Well, of course they're cool. They've got a bowling alley with couches instead of those awkward little 4-seat tables they put you in. Bolero. We went up there, I don't know, some little kid's birthday party, a friend of mine. Yeah, they got a bowling alley up there. Instead of those uncomfortable little seats, couches. I'm like, I'm home. I don't have to put a bowling alley now in my living room.
Good call.
Very good call. Sometimes they say you are what you eat. More appropriately, you smell what you eat. You smell like what you eat, or maybe what you drink. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
Let's take a quick look. 1,006. That's how many junk emails I've gotten in the last, I'm not making this up, 24 hours. Yes, somebody leaked my info.
And the sad part, it's probably 1,005. There's one important email in there you've been waiting on.
You know what? You're right.
Just the needle in that haystack of crap.
Not going to happen. I'm just going to let that number roll and roll and roll. I'm never going to scroll down that thing. I'm sorry. I'm out. I'm out trying to keep up with email. I never was really in, but boy, now it's really not happening. Hey, we're talking about surgical souvenirs on the show. I got to read this text. This came in. Whoo, baby. This is from Kim. When I was a kid, I was born knock-kneed and pigeon-toed. The doctor's solution, rather than to give me corrective shoes, was to cut both of my femurs in half, rotate them outwards, and then reattach them with 8-inch long stainless steel rods that stuck out of my leg approximately 6 inches. I was wheelchair bound for an entire year in the 2nd grade. When they finally removed the rods, my mom kept them, saying, "Do you have any idea how much I paid for these? You're damn right I want to keep them." I sure hope that worked, because, boy, that's a lot to go through just so your mom can hang on to some titanium rods.
It sounds like that buddy of yours, when there's something to do like change a tire, makes it very complicated all of a sudden. Like, no, we just got to jack it up and take the lug nuts off and put the other tire on. No, here's what we're going to do. Help me push over to the side of the road, and we're going to get it on this embankment. And then, no, what are you doing, man? I mean, Doc. Jeez, wow.
Yeah.
Sounds, like a nightmare, but hopefully she's got a nice gait, as they say.
I hope so. That just reminds me, I was planting a dogwood tree in my front yard 30 years ago. All right. And my neighbor and my next door neighbor came over, and he's like, "Hey man, so what sort of mix are you going to put in?" I'm digging the hole. It's a small, it's big to plant something, but in terms of trees, it's small. But, that little ball weighs a ton for a little dogwood tree. Yeah. It's probably 10 feet tall. I mean, it was enough to work up quite a sweat. I'm digging the hole, and my neighbor comes over, and he's like, "Yo, man, so what sort of mulch mix are you putting in the bottom of the hole before?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Oh, you can't just put, no, in the hole at the bottom, you need to get some." And he just starts going down the list of all the things I need in that hole with the dirt. It's like not Miracle-Gro, but there's just certain types of, you go over to the garden center and you get these 50-pound bags and you mix it in 50-50, and then you put the ball, but then on top of the ball, once it's in the hole, then you want to go straight organic, blah, 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 blah. He is talking to me for 3 minutes. And Eddie Harsh, the old piano player for the Black Crowes, was watching all this from my screened-in front porch, having a cigarette and a cup of coffee. And all you hear after like 3-4 minutes is, "It's a tree, man. Put it in the ground." And I looked up, I was like, "You're right." He goes, "Man, tree grow anywhere."
Yeah.
He goes, "Come on, man." And I said, "You're right." And my neighbor walked off like, "Oh, jerk." I put the thing in the hole, filled it with dirt. That tree's still there. I drive by it anytime I'm in Atlanta.
I mean, that's a fantastic neighbor stereotype. That guy that always comes over.
Yeah.
What you doing there? I'm just throwing a few rocks up against the little thing. Oh, yeah, no, then you got to get the tarp paper and the whole thing, and just piss off.
Hey, I noticed you're planting a tree. Can I complicate this for you?
Yeah, right.
Here's a text that's just in back to, well, this isn't necessarily a surgery souvenir. This is just straight up weird. My mother-in-law saved my husband's baby teeth. And when we got married, she gave me a bag of his teeth.
Oh, no.
Okay. Wow. There's a...
Red flag.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And then she moved in with her baby.
These baby teeth are your responsibility now. I've cherished them for 31 years. And now they've been under his pillow in my basement throughout his adult life. But now that he's on your hands, I want you. Good gracious.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, that's got to be an only child thing. I mean, do you save the baby teeth on child 2? No, you're just like, yeah, it's fine, kid. Just here, Tooth Fairy's gonna. You know what? Here, just take $10. Get out of my face.
Now, that's a good reason to move to Canada. If you want a good reason, if you need a reason to make get the hell out of the country. Get as far away from that woman as you can. She'll never let her little baby go. No. Someone kept their Stephanie kept her nasal polyps. For what? I mean, does that make a nice bracelet? A nasal
Not really
polyp.
Sure. I
She said nasal polyps, yeah.
I think that would be very easy to lose. I would hope they're very small. Steve wrote, hey, after my heart transplant, for my defibrillator back after... I took my I can't say that word, defibrillator. Wow. Back after they took out my old heart. Sent it back to Medtronic, who cleaned it up and then engraved my name on it. Yeah.
Oh, it's a nice touch.
Service.
Yeah, I like that. That's good, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that at all. You know what? I did mention something about you are what you eat, and I just wanted to mention this really quickly. We all know this, but you do have certain body odors that are influenced by what you eat and or drink. There's the obvious ones. Asparagus, if you eat asparagus, not everybody, but for the people that it does impact, your pee will smell awful for days. I have had, I'm not exaggerating, one piece of a sushi roll that had one tiny sliver of asparagus in it, and the next time I pee, it's all I can smell. I mean, it doesn't take any asparagus to just turn me into an absolute pee natural disaster area. But alcohol, as we all know, most of it gets metabolized by your liver, but there is a bit that comes out in your sweat. You do end up smelling like a stale beer or something else. That's a common thing around the house, especially the holidays. My 22 and 24-year-old children, oh my God. I mean, it's just like, wow, I guess I used to smell like that when I was your age too, I guess. I just didn't notice because everyone else did.
I might get on a real bender. I just smell like stale beer and chicken soup.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Because I wasn't showering,
the chicken soup starts around 5th grade, right? When your early body odor, first bit of hormonal adolescent anything. I always used to think that, like, oh my God, I smell like chicken soup. What a weird thing. And then when my son was like 12, I was like, oh my God, he smells like chicken soup. I wasn't making that up. Hard to eat chicken soup if you have an adolescent in the house, I can tell you that. But red meat is the other one. It's very hard to digest. I mean, comparatively, it leaves residue in the digestive tract, and it mixes with bacteria, and it comes out in your sweat. So if you're eating a lot of red meat, you always hear people talk about the meat sweats. Which, if you ever go to one of those Brazilian meat churrasco places, the next day you're just like, oh my God. When you can smell yourself, it's like a recent study found women actually more attracted to guys who are vegetarians because their sweat smells better, the pheromone thing. So dudes, if you go vegetarian, you're probably going to attract, another vegetarian.
Good luck with all that. Yeah. No, more meat just means more Drakkar.
Is that what that means?
More meat, more Drakkar.
Okay.
Yeah. Just slap it on. Chicks dig that. Do they still make Drakkar? I don't know. That was like my early 30s. Just
Drakkar,
heavy with
wow.
Drakkar.
Yeah, my son's experimenting with a couple of very, very mild colognes here and there every now and again. But he did, over the holidays, he did hop in my car. We were going somewhere. I'm warming the car up, and he jumps in. And I went, oh, dude, wait, whoa. You got way out over your skis with this. He goes, is it too much? I'm like, yeah, it really is. It's way too much. And he's like, well, screw it. I'm late. We got to go. I'm like, oh, man. I delivered him to his friend's house where they're having a party. I'm like, oh, you poor kid. And I said, just stand on the balcony. Just be out in the cold. Keep your coat on.
No, he won't be the only one.
Let yourself air out. My God. Hey, the 2025 Tee It Up golf card presented by Club Champion is on sale right now. Golf 6 area courses, and you will save nearly $200. Good gracious, what a bargain. If you text the keyword golf to 651-989-ROCK, you will get a response back with all the information, and you'll be able to click a link or two and pick up your own Tee It Up golf card. And if you're in Cambridge, Minnesota, I want you to know you're welcome to get a golf card too. In fact, I'd recommend it. Cambridge, Minnesota, good morning. Glad to have you with us as we're moving through a Thursday. It's time to look back for the final time. We do have a lot to process. Your body remembers pain. You've got to process. You've got to analyze. You've got to flush it out. And, of course, what I'm saying is we're going to discuss the Vikings with Sam Ekstrom one last time for the season. He's been covering the Vikings since 2014, host and executive producer with the Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcast Network, providing daily Vikings analysis on YouTube and your preferred podcast feed. All right, Sam, I'm thrilled. The Eagles are totally beatable. We're going to go to Philadelphia. I think we got them right where we want them. I mean, let's talk about what we have to do to beat Philadelphia this weekend. Oh, man, I'm trying. I'm trying hard.
Sam, is it that time of year where no one wants to talk to you? Like, I'm not picking up Sam's calls. I'm done with the Vikes. I mean, it's painful still, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, everybody wants to talk to me. Everybody wants to get the opinion on what happened, what's going to happen, why didn't it happen the way we wanted it to happen. So, no, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. That's part of the gig. You gotta live with the good, live with the bad, and it's really bad right now. The way that season ended is not the way that we hoped or expected.
Sam, we got to start with the obvious choice here. Icarus, Sam Darnold, he of the wax wings, got a little too close to the sun now. So looking back with 5 days or 4 days now, or really only, feels like a month ago, what the hell did we just see? Was the season, will we look back on the season as one of smoke and mirrors doing their job? Or were we actually what we hoped we were? How do you think we're going to look at this season, say 6-8 months down the road?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I felt like up until the final game against the Lions, and then obviously Monday night, I thought it was legitimate. I thought there was legitimacy to what Sam Darnold was doing. I thought there was sustainability to what he was doing. I think, last time they made a big playoff run with Case Keenum, I think you could have argued that Keenum was not the reason why it was happening. He was propped up by the defense. He was maybe getting a little bit fortunate. That was not the case this year. The way the bottom fell out of Sam Darnold the last 2 games was just astonishing, and I think it spoke to kind of a mental hurdle that he had not overcome. I think that he can physically do this job at a very high level. I think between the ears is where it all fell flat for him. I look more to him than I do to the head coach because he's taken a lot of criticism as well. But if the process was good enough for the head coach through the first 16 games, and he's getting applauded by every pundit in the country saying he's a genius, I don't know why it wouldn't be good enough the final 2 games unless your quarterback just had a major mental block about throwing the football, throwing it on time.
He was choking so bad, I was expecting O'Neal to go over and just give him the Heimlich, sometime just right there on the field. Just get it out of you, Sam. What are you doing? In case Adolfo Menza or O'Connell are listening this morning, what about these names next season? Zach Wilson. Is he still available? Johnny Manziel? No?
Oh
Too late to get Tim Tebow back on the roster? The hell? I'm all better.
Looking for work. I think they'd be excited about that offer. The quarterback situation next year does seem clearer, doesn't it, guys? I think that we were all assuming that Sam Darnold was going to cost you nine figures, 150 million, 160 million, 200 million, at the highest possible number. And now it feels, I think, a little more at peace that you can revert to J.J. McCarthy. You can go cheaper. You can bring in Daniel Jones to compete with him or back him up. It feels more set in that. At least I feel more content in that direction. And then you open up so much cap space, guys. Here's what gets me excited. The Washington Commanders went to a rookie quarterback last year. They had a similar amount of cap space to the Vikings. I won't rattle off the whole list, but go look at the free agents that they signed with similar money. They went out and they bought a competitive team. They got guys on offense, guys on defense. They got a high-end backup in Marcus Mariota, and they just went out and spent it. And I think if it gives the Vikings and Kwesi a chance to do that, he's been really good at signing veteran free agents. I think that's probably an exciting direction that could kind of get us back excited again for next year with the rookie QB.
You just answered like three of my next questions. The Commanders are the perfect example of what you can do with a rookie quarterback and a lot of that money in free agency. Is there any
Jaden Daniels? Yeah.
Is there any scenario where you think the Vikings don't do that? Have you heard any thoughts? Anybody from maybe inside that front office that's thinking, well, maybe we franchise Sam and give him one more chance? Is there any hint that they are still debating what to do?
Yeah, and I think that debate is still probably very real in the building. I think that you take these final two games and you weigh them appropriately. And you probably give them a little more weight than a normal regular season loss. And you say, okay, is this stigma going to carry Sam Darnold, or is it going to follow Sam Darnold for the rest of his career? Will he be able to shake that? That's an unknown. The price has probably come down on Darnold from where it was, and that could also influence your decision-making if it's only a $30 million per year deal or $20 million per year deal. But here, the franchise tag is probably the most appealing option because you give him the 1-year tag and then you look to trade him. You can trade him maybe for a second, third-round pick. I don't know about a first-round pick, but you can get a high draft pick for Sam Darnold. The only risk there is that if you sign that tag and nobody wants to play ball, you're not able to come up with a deal. Well, that takes up a lot of your cap space because you're on the hook for that money.
Yeah.
So you would have to have a handshake in place with a franchise like a Las Vegas or a Cleveland to say, all right, we're going to execute this deal before free agency. We get a draft pick, you get Sam Darnold, and then everybody's happy. I think Vikings fans would be happy as well. I tend to think it's less than 50%, though, now that Sam Darnold is quarterback here next year.
Sam Ekstrom's with us on the KQ Morning Show. Okay, we've talked about Sam Darnold. We talked about, you've already said you think KOC, he didn't suddenly forget how to coach in the final two games of the season. But let's talk about that defense. Flores, what do you think about his decision to continue to blitz Matt Stafford, despite the fact that Stafford was damn near perfect when blitzed? He was killing us. I kept waiting for the defense to pull back, and it just didn't seem to happen. How do you rate Flores' performance in that game?
Yeah, probably a very about a C. Probably about a C. And I felt like we had a lot of C performances down the stretch.
Yep.
Where at the end of the day, subtract the defensive touchdown that the Rams had, and the Rams had 20 points on offense, right?
Yeah.
That's a pretty fair number. And they weren't really trying that much in the fourth quarter, granted. But the way they moved the ball early, the way that they were able to attack the soft spots in the zone and beat the blitz, and if I had a nickel, guys, for every time Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford just hung in there against a free rusher who's a tenth of a second away from slamming him, and they get the ball out to somebody. I mean, that was the story of the last 2 weeks. Was opposing quarterbacks just staring into the face of the blitz, hanging in there, and carving it up. And I think this is the flaw in the Flores system, in that you're going to get 6 wins a year by just flustering young, inexperienced quarterbacks. Then when you play legitimate quarterbacks, you're going to run into that. Your gambles are going to backfire probably more often than not against those really good, courageous quarterbacks that don't care if you're blitzing or not. They're gonna find a spot with the football. It's something to evaluate going into next year if Flores is back. He's got 3 interviews coming up with the Jets, Jaguars, and Bears, so we'll see. I tend to think he is back. So I think that some adjustments need to be made. I don't want him to go all the way passive. I like the aggression. But against certain quarterbacks, you just have to play a little smarter branded defense, I think.
Okay, Sam, that's enough of the Vikings for now. I think everybody's looking forward to a few weeks where we aren't thinking about it. It's just better to just, wash it out, flush it away, and then just pay attention to the rest of the season. Do you see anybody going into the Motor City and beating the Lions?
Not this weekend. I think the Lions are going to win by a bunch. I think Washington won their Super Bowl. Good for them. They got a playoff win. I think the Lions bring it back to earth this weekend. Eagles-Lions could be really compelling. I think that's going to be a good football game. I'm starting to think that these Lions injuries don't matter. I mean, in all this time with all these injuries, they only lost the one game. They lost to Buffalo, and they gave up 1 million points in that game, but they've won every other game in spite of these injuries. I'm starting to think that they're just a team on a mission. They're my Super Bowl pick out of the NFC. I got to see who's out of the AFC before I say they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think they are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. That's the safest bet, I think, is that Detroit will make it all the way to the final game. And then, of course, as it's all rigged and set in stone years ago, the Chiefs will win. So there you have it. That's just how it seems to be rolling these days. Sam, man, it's been great having you with us this whole season. Thanks so much. I am already looking forward to next season. If for no other reason, then we'll have you back in. Anytime you got football thoughts you need to expend, we're here, brother. You got the number. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, sounds good. I really appreciate it. People come up to me all the time and say they love the segments and they love listening to you guys. So props to you. Talk to you next year.
Right on. Cheers, Sam. All the best.
Thank you, Sam. One correction, since I've had 3 texts already. I said O'Brien. I meant Brian O'Neill, the tackle. Anyway, moving on. This is like, what this is? Like going through a tough breakup, and then all your friends want to know what happened. What happened?
That's exactly what it is.
F you, that's what happened.
Yeah, it's over. That's all you need to know. It ended. The credits are rolling.
Yeah, we'll see. Next season, they've got some decision to make. I find it hard to believe that Sam Darnold would still be worth $20 or $30 million a year, and that someone would bite on him. He mentions a Cleveland. He mentions a Las Vegas Raiders. Those are the kind of teams that make bad gambles. They have perennially, year after year, and so maybe they'll take the bait. But boy, I'd be real nervous franchise tagging him.
As a former resident of Nashville, Tennessee for 20 years, I can tell you Titans fans have spent most of the last 20 years watching guys like Sam Darnold going, why can't we just get a guy like that? You just find yourself living in a corner and it's like, hey, let's get him. It's just such a have and have not situation. You either have the quarterback, and if there's one question about whether he's your quarterback or not, he's not. You know what I mean? It's like there's always a dozen teams that are just, we're good. And then there's 20 more teams going, I think we're going to be okay. I think we might have the guy. It's like, no. You either have them or you don't. And we all know who those teams are. Hey, 92KQRS would love to send you to see Metallica at Mile High Stadium in Denver this summer for the final nights of their M72 No Repeat Weekend Tour. For a shot to win Snake Pit tickets with a 360 view of the show for both nights. Of course, that includes airfare and hotel for 2. Text the national keyword weekend to 95819 for your chance to win. The top 5 at 9 coming up. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
If you're just joining us, there's been a data breach, and I only know that because I have 1,027 emails since yesterday in my junk box. 1,027. Yes.
Time to ditch that email, man.
I tell you what, and boy, no shortage of warnings about eating bad shrimp. They just keep coming in. I don't know what to make of it. So, maybe you are also getting a junk box full every 5 minutes. It's fun. It's fun. You know what I'm going to do about it? Nothing. Not going to do a damn thing, and I'll tell you why as we launch into the top 5 at 9. Because number 5 on your top 5 at 9 today, January 16th, is National Nothing Day. That's right. Rest assured.
thought that was yesterday and the day before that. And the day
but
before
this is
that,
officially
Okay.
National Nothing Day. This isn't this isn't Zepp being Zepp. This isn't Steve being Steve. I'd say it about Ryder, but we know she works like a damn
no kidding.
draft horse. No, National Nothing Day is a real day. It's been celebrated or not celebrated, more like ignored since 1973. A journalist named Harold Pullman Coffin proposed National Nothing Day as a non-event to be observed by doing nothing every January 16th. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. We don't have to be told, but it's nice to be recognized every once in a while and just come out and say it, People, there's a pressure always on to do something. What are you doing today? Nothing. No one wants to ever say, no, I'm not doing anything. I'm doing nothing today. That's what I'm doing.
Nothing.
But there's always pressure. Not today. Go ahead and say it as everybody's tooling in to grind it out at work today.
I find myself sometimes saying, well, what is nothing? And to answer the question of nothing, you must find the meaning of nothing. Even the true nature of nothingness is in outer space causes disagreements between experts because so many claim that even a true space devoid of any... What am I talking about? I don't know.
Are you reading one of those spam mails out loud?
Hang on. I'm just getting to the part where I should watch out for bad shrimp. It's going to come right around the bend. Friendship spawned in true brotherhood canst gainsay itself against all others. Okay, there's my haiku for the day, I guess.
All right.
So anyway, listen, if you're just getting up, go back to bed. It's National Nothing Day. You have our permission and, in fact, our hearty endorsement that you get as little done today as possible. Take the day, why don't you? Number 4 on your top 5 at 9. Man, tough news continuing. Over in Chippewa Falls, the Line & Kugel's Brewing Company, there was an announcement a few months ago that they were closing the brewery in Chippewa Falls and moving all brewing operations for Line & Kugel to Milwaukee, which is not Chippewa Falls. And they're keeping the Liney Lodge open, and there will still be some small batch brews that are made in Chippewa Falls at the Liney Lodge for the Liney Lodge, but the brewery, the main brewery there, will close. That's 56 brewery workers losing their jobs. Now, Line & Kugel, of course, 40 years ago, sold the company to Coors, now Molson Coors. And so, but with the closing of the Chippewa Falls Brewery, 2 of the former presidents, 2 of the Line & Kugel brothers, Jake and Dick Line & Kugel, said, hey, Molson Coors, why don't you let us buy back the brewery in Chippewa Falls?
Yeah.
It's a huge part of the area. Yeah. It's more than a facility. It's a symbol of our legacy, a source of pride for the community. It's a key part of what makes Line & Kugel's unique. And they said, look, we'll buy it back from you. And Molson Coors, apparently, according to a news story, hasn't even responded to the offer. They're just like, no, we love this place. We're committed to maintaining a strong presence, but we're going to brew the beer in Milwaukee. And gosh, we love you. And don't call us, we'll call you.
I did a little Googling. Last year, Molson Coors had a total equity of $13.4 billion. Company's net income last year, $956 million. Molson Coors, could you dare to be the corporation with a heart and let this town, at a price, by the way, sell at a fair market value? I'm sure, there'll be a little negotiating there. Let this town have their Line & Kugel brewery and still crank out some beers and keep some people employed. And you can then focus more on that Molson Canadian piss that you crank out.
Ain't that the truth? Man, it's a tough time in life when you, as a teenager and a guy in your early 20s, you have this mindset that Canadian beer is stronger and better. And then you don't drink it for 10 years. And then you're, say, 32 and you have one and you go, oh, my God. This is the worst beer I've ever had in my life. Everybody's had that experience. Yeah. Ooh, man. Try to choke down a moose head. I dare you. I'm just saying. Hey, Line & Kugels, man, we love you guys. Hope this works out. It doesn't look like Molson Coors wants to play ball, but I appreciate the effort, and I think that Molson Coors can suck it. Okay, number 3 on your top 5 at 9. 32-year-old Kyle Gordy from California is the biological father to 87 children worldwide. 87. And now he will apparently go over the 100 mark by the end of this year because my man donates sperm the way some of us, bite our nails, the way some of us just breathe. Kyle Gordy has been donating sperm for years, and he has 87 offspring. I can't call them. They're not his kids. He's not a dad.
No.
He did an interview where he did say, quote, "It feels great to be a dad of so many children."
Shut up.
No. You're a sperm donor. You sired 87 kids. You're not fathering anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, call me old-fashioned, but if you want to have illegitimate children, you do it the old-fashioned way, right? You just have a lot of unprotected sex, and then you get out of town. You don't brag about it. This is what worries me: is his smug attitude, and that's might be hereditary. Get passed on. Now we have 87 more smug children coming our way, and I didn't think you were supposed to know. It was my understanding when you donated sperm that you didn't. That was it.
Yeah.
You didn't know if you created a kid or not. You didn't know where it went. You didn't know what happened to it. Maybe they're selling it to weirdos. I don't know, but I didn't think you were supposed to know. But since you do know, Kyle, and you have 87 kids out there and he wants 100, I hope when they're all of age, they come looking for you, wanting some answers. Just going to be one kid. The doorbell's just going to keep ringing. Dad, is that you?
What's your dad do?
I'm better now.
What's your dad do? He's an attorney. What about you? My dad, he's a doctor. What's your dad do? He jerks off a lot. Kyle has 3,000 Instagram followers, and he offers his services for free on a website called Be Pregnant Now.
So women, you can just buy this online now?
I don't know. He invites anyone interested to reach out. He currently has, again, 14 more on the way in England, Scotland, Sweden, and Norway. Yeah, bud. I mean, come on. It's fine. What? To what end? What is it about your sperm that makes it so special? I mean, you're saying be pregnant now. People that want to, you know what? I can't even. We've given him enough attention. He's
doing the Lord's work.
Just want to smack him in the head. Is that so wrong?
How about if I just wait for about 18 years and smack one of his kids in the head?
That'll work. Number 2 on your top 5 at 9. An Ohio woman posted a video on TikTok and telling about the story. She went to a Burger King drive-thru and ordered some chicken fries from Burger King for her children. And if you were expecting a side of French fries with that or a side of ketchup, she got something very different. Here she is.
Went to Burger King tonight. Got my kids some chicken fries. This bag came. If you look down in there, you can see some residue. She got her chicken fries. Chicken fries with the side of... Do you see that? You can't say that on here. Mary Jane from Burger King.
All right.
God.
One of Kyle's kids, I hope. Yeah, first I can't say that on here. It's TikTok. You could literally say it with your boobs out. As I understand, I just started my TikTok account. Very excited. Now I'm going to go to complain to Burger King. I'm going to go hit the drive-thru today. And, hey, I didn't get any pot. Last time I got a Whopper. What gives? All I got was a bunch of chicken fingers.
It's TikTok. Someone in China has your social security number. Don't worry about saying weed, okay? There are far greater concerns coming up in your life, lady. Hey, want to give a morning shout out to East St. Paul, which, if memory serves, is on the east side of St. Paul.
I wouldn't be... Yeah, is it? Okay, I wouldn't be so sure. I don't know what's going on over there. Just east side.
Just hit the east side. That really, the oldest bar in Minnesota is over there. What's it called?
Oh,
I'm spacing.
Now I'm going to be pissed off. What is Newman's? Thank you.
Jeez.
Just popped in.
Which is in North St. Paul.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, Newman's is in North St. Paul, I think. See, that's the thing over there. That jigsaw puzzle over there. But it's Newman's patio. You know, we're so far in the winter now. I'm starting to forget Newman's. I'm getting that brain freeze.
For a city that you say a lot of Germans and a lot of Irish, it's pretty clear the Irish did the lines. The Irish laid that place out, because everywhere you go, you're like, this is North St. Paul on the south side. We're in South St. Paul East. It's like, well, okay, get the Germans in here to make this, these lines straight, would we?
Yeah, I think the Cherry Pit bar is that's probably, I don't know. I'm out.
Okay.
That's it.
I don't know. I'm going to quit guessing here. I'm just embarrassing myself.
Speaking of drawing up lines, check this out. A state senator in Iowa named Mike Bousselot, or Bousselot. I don't know how you say his name, and I don't really care. He has announced plans to introduce a bill for the state of Iowa to purchase the bottom 9 counties of Minnesota at the 2025 Land Investment Expo. He's like, look, man, we'll just take those 9 counties at the bottom. He's jumping on a quote from Governor Tim Walz from 2017. It took him, this is one of those things where, like, oh, I wish I'd had the perfect comeback. It took him 8 years to figure out how to come back to something
Tim
Walz
what he
said
came up with
about being rocks and cows down there. So he wants his statement is make Minnesota Iowa again. Whatever, dude. Don't get your hopes up. But some people down by the border were asked. Some Minnesotans were asked, "Would you like to be a part of Iowa?" And we've got some of their answers right here.
I might consider going north.
Why?
Just to get out of Iowa.
Others living in Albert Lee are willing to entertain offers.
I'd definitely take the lower taxes for sure.
I'd be fine with Iowa.
Yeah, Santos just trucked it down to Albert Lee from Fox 9 here, so he didn't want to drive all the way to the border, so they're not on it. But then that would make you closer to Iowa, and that would give me a rash. I wouldn't like that. The taxes, maybe, but Iowa. Idiots out walking around. There you have it. They can't afford Minnesota.
There's nothing halfway about the Iowa way to treat you. Wasn't that's a Music Man reference, I believe.
Is it? Okay.
Hey, listen, don't kid yourself. I spent a little time in local community theater back in the day. I know my Music Man. I got my Gary, Indiana, that song from that play. Come on. I tried out. I wanted to be Winthrop, the lisping kid who sings Gary, Indiana. I was like 12, and we had the auditions, and I got up there and I sang that song, Gary, Indiana, and put my heart on the line. And then I found out that they'd already cast the title role of the Music Man. And it was an adult, obviously, from the community. And I, as a 6th grader, was already taller than him. And I was like, oh, guess I'm not going to get the part of the little kid.
No.
Damn it. It's tough, man. Tough all over.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.